Hey guys, welcome back to Braddock's Garage. Today's video will be about the reassembly of a 1968 Ford Mustang steering column. I've already taken it upon myself to disassemble the column, and this will be about the cleaning, reassembly, and restoration of the steering column. So I hope you stick around, enjoy, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks. All right. This is the outer column. The bottom of it's pretty corroded, usable but corroded, and also some surface rust up here on the inside of the car. But what we got here, can you see that? Yeah. So this right here is a cover that, well, it covers up the collapsible portion of this steering column. I'm gonna remove this. It's all nicked up and it's got cuts in it and everything, so just go ahead and remove that. I've got one on order from West Coast Classic Cougars. They're the only ones I've seen so far that sell a reproduction. It's pretty much like a big ass heat shrink. So I've got that on order. Should be here probably next week, honestly. But you know, just a couple minutes for you guys. So let's go ahead and remove this, and then we'll throw this outer column into the evaporust and do its thing. All right, so here you can see the cover is off. You get to really take in how that collapsible column works. So if you get hit, front end collision, steering column will collapse right here, and the inner shaft right here has, I don't know if you can see these, has these nylon pins right here. There you go, that's a better view. And upon impact, these will shear, and this smaller diameter shaft will collapse into the larger diameter shaft, therefore hopefully preventing the steering wheel from impaling your chest, like on the 67 and earlier model Mustangs. So if you didn't know, now you do. I'm just going to clean up the bottom of this right here on the bench grinder. There, got it all cleaned up, looks good. It's ready for the evaporust. But if you're asking yourself, Brad, why would you put that on a wire wheel and then stick it in evaporust when you have a blast cabinet right there? Simple answer is, I don't know. But if I had to think about it, which I did, there's rust on the inside of this outer tube, and I can't get to it any other way than putting in evaporust and letting it do its thing. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's get to it. In you go. Drink up. Oh yeah. I love this stuff. I've got a great video idea with using evaporust. I don't know if evaporust would be interested in it, but I am thinking about pitching it to him. It'd be really cool. There we go. Let's do some more. Huh, that was weird. The last bottle was clear. This is green. What are you doing, evaporust? Did I get a faulty bottle? There we go. We just want to cover this up completely. Is it gonna make it? I think so. Yep. 3 gallons was the magic number. All right. So now we just let that soak for about 24 hours. All right, so I went over this piece with some steel wool, brought it back looking brand new. Looks beautiful, but at the end, I painted it with SEM self-etching primer and then covered that in SEM trim black. Only the best paint out there. That's the piece that's going to be exposed at the end of the column into the engine compartment. So I just wanted to match everything else. So that's that. All right, so I got the parts out of the evapor rust. They turned out amazing. I washed them off, cleaned them up, and now I've got the steering column and the little wiring cover in primer. So I'll just have to hit that with some 320, and then I can go ahead and put my black base coat down. But first I need to let that set up just a little bit more. All right, I've got all the parts sanded down, cleaned, and ready for trim black. You can see I've got my steering column set up on my trusty pipe. And the other column pieces right there, ready to spray. So let's do it. Okay, so now it's time to put the vinyl cover over the steering column. You can pick these up from West Coast Classic Cougars for about $15 if you stop in there. A little bit more if you have to have it shipped, like I did. But they say you just put it over the column and use a heat gun and it'll shrink like shrink wrap around the column. So it was a little long. I cut it down to size. Hope I didn't screw myself doing that. It didn't say it in the directions, but you never know. And that's the chunk I cut off. Worst comes to worst, I can put this on there and shrink it down too. Worst case scenario, I just order a new one for 15 bucks. So anyway, let's put the heat gun to it and see what happens. Now it says to start at one end and slowly work your way down. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll start at the top end of it, work our way down, and see if I did it right. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's working really well. You just turn the tube. See that? Wow. This is working out a lot better than I thought it would. Looks like it might come up a little bit short on the end though. Yeah, see that? Came up a little short. So, question is, do I put this on here? So do I put this on here just to make up that difference? Because the original one came down to about right here. Decisions. All right, we're gonna do it and see what happens. Cutting it down was definitely the right decision, but I took too much of it off. Now I've got this sleeved section right here. But guys, if you're rebuilding your steering column in your 68 Mustang or Cougar, you got to get one of these. My old one was just disgusting, and I mean, it was chipped and nicked. It was kind of gross. Plus, to clean the column off properly, you got to take this off so you can get inside the collapsible section. And get all the rust out of it. Plus, rust builds up underneath the cover right here. Turned out really well. Like I said, 15 bucks from West Coast Classic Cougars. You can't beat it. It looks stock. So just don't cut as much off as I did, because I used the original one to measure it. And I forgot that it actually has to shrink down. And when it does that, it goes boop, 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 gets smaller. So anyway, definitely worth the investment. Give it a try. All right, so let's go over some parts real quick. This is the turn signal switch for a 6869. I got it from MPD. It was a little over $100. But my original, I thought it was salvageable, but underneath the cam right here, the contact broke and fell out. So I just went ahead and bought a new one. Now, the new one, because it's for 69 as well, it comes with these two extra wires right here, the yellow and black and the brown. And that's for the front fender marker lights to blink with the turn signal lights. I don't need that because 68 doesn't do it. So I'm just gonna put some heat shrink over them and cap these off, and then we'll just tape them down. So yeah, this came from MPD. It looks to be a quality part. I mean, it's exactly, other than the two wires, for 68, it looks exactly like the original. The only thing it didn't come with, though, was this connector right here. I had to take this one off of my original and put it on here. So do take note of where your wires go. Also, you've got two plastic bushings in your steering column. They're both at the bottom. One sits inside the tube, the main tube, and the other slides over this, or sits inside the main tube, and the inner tube slides through it just to keep it from bouncing off of each other. And then you have this lower bushing right here, which goes in here, and that prevents the shaft, the actual collapsible steering shaft right here, allows it to sit in here without bouncing around. Although once it's bolted up to the steering box or the rag joint, it's not going to go anywhere. I also got these seals. They're foam seals, and they sit in the tube to prevent the gases from the engine compartment coming up the main tube and pretty much hitting you in the face. So there's this kit, which is 3 Echo 629-1A from MPD, and there's another one that includes 3 foam pieces. That's the one I should have got. So don't follow me on this part in particular, but you've got this thicker ring, and then the other kit has a thinner but same diameter ring to slide over this inner column right here. As you can see, that's not gonna work, but I think I can stretch it over. So we're gonna wing it. This other piece, the just little plug, goes into the bottom right here. So we'll just go ahead and put that in now. Just jam it up in there. Like so. I don't know if you can see that. Also, I purchased a new turn signal switch, or turn signal lever, because this is my original, and it's pretty pitted up, if you can see that. The new one is same length. Doesn't give me a size, but there's pretty much 3 of these. There's chrome, there's a satin finish, and then there's a shorter version. No, excuse me. Yes, sorry. Shorter version for people who have the larger steering wheels, the aftermarket steering wheels. So I just went with the stock size. And this is also from MPD, but it's a Daniel Carpenter Mustang part, DOAZ 13305-A. Looks like a nice part. In here, I've got my inner bearing with the snap ring, if you can see that. Let me get up close. Right here. The bearing was in good shape. It was a little dry, so I packed it with grease and then put it back into its little rubber housing. The snap ring was fine, so I didn't need that. Although these parts are sold through NPD. And you can find them on there if you just go to the steering column parts section, and you'll find them. Like I said, mine were good, so I didn't need them. But this sits into the this piece right here, and it allows the inner shaft to move freely. And then I just bought some hardware stuff, like the firewall seal screws. And the seal for the firewall. And also steering column to dash mounting hardware, 1968. AMK. These guys are fairly local to me. If you watch, Graveyard Cars or whatever, any major restoration place uses AMK fasteners. They're from Winchester, Virginia, so it's pretty convenient that they're local. Although, like most of you guys, I typically end up ordering this stuff from, NPD or Virginia Classic Mustang or Kentucky Mustang, just because I have to get a bunch of other things that AMK doesn't offer. So there's that. And I restored just my regular hardware, like the Phillips head bolts or Phillips head screws. Those are all, where's my stuff here? Those are all in a black oxide. Usually if they're rusted up, I'll clean them off on the wire wheel and then drop them into this Caswell black oxide concentrate. This stuff works amazingly, and if you haven't used it, you need to. You gotta use this, especially if you're doing concourse restorations and you need black oxide hardware. This is the stuff to do it with. So once again, Caswell black oxide concentrate, and they have it in various sizes. All right, so we're going to start with the inner tube going into the outer tube. This piece of the steering column right here is actually keyed for the inner tube because you have to bolt it down. So you're going to line it up as best as you can. We'll have to fidget with it a little bit. Let's see. There's a bolt hole you just need to line up. Let's bring that out a little bit. Right there. And this you want to crank on it too hard. This part's a little trickier, but there's only one way it can go on. So you've got these T-head bolts. Let's see. Like this. And that's what secures the lower sleeve to the upper. But the method in which you have to install them is a little tricky. So you just want to thread your nut on ever so slightly inside the sleeve like that. About 1.5 threads on there should be enough, because you want them loose so they can spread. All right, now watch me fumble through this. Okay, so I got the T-bolts situated in there. You'll know it works because you can't separate the upper and lower column right here. And then you have 2 Phillips head screws, coarse thread, about 1.5 inches long or so. That further holds this unit together and from twisting on itself. Let's do the foam seal. All right, so you need to put a graphite lubricant on there. Then you'll just, if you get the right seal, you don't have to stretch it like this. If you can see it. You see down in there? Just like that. Now we can put our bushing in. tabs face up. Line them up with the holes. Okay. Now there's no more play. After gives you smooth operation. All right, so next we're going to put this lower bushing in. Just simply slides in like that. Then we can take our steering shaft and slide it up through the column. If my calculations are correct, it should come out the top. And it does. All right. Okay, so now we can put our bushing down in right there. You gotta seat it. There we go. So the bearing is on there, and there's a little washer on the back side. You just gotta make sure it seats down against that, so it gives us enough room to put the snap ring on. And the snap ring is a pain in the ass. Pardon my language. Had a heck of a time getting it off. Let's see if we can get you guys a better angle here. This is a lot easier to do in a vise. All right, can you see? Did he go on? Hot damn, I think it did. Yep. All right, well, snap ring goes on a lot easier than it came off. All right, so we'll just seat that now. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna feed this in. Might need to turn this 180 degrees. If that's the case, that's a pain in the butt. Okay, so that's exactly what the problem was here. I had clocked this upper ring 180 degrees out. So I just had to undo the T-bolts and the two Phillips head screws, go 180 degrees, put it back down, tighten it up, And now I should be able to get the wiring for the turn signal switch to go in that hole right there, which will in turn come out this slot right here in the column, this little depression. So we're just going to feed it through. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So the plug right here doesn't fit through the hole. You know what? We're smarter than this. We're not going to let it beat us. So let me figure it out. Okay, so I think what I need to do is, again, take the screws out and the T-bolts just to get a little bit of slack in this, whatever you want to call this piece right here. It evades me right now. Tilt it up a little bit. That way we can get the wiring through there, and then we can cock it back how it's supposed to be, put the hardware back in, and I don't know. That's my idea. We'll see if it works.
Let's try it now. You know, going through life, you shouldn't try to wing it. Sometimes you just gotta wing it. I should have said don't know the outcome. So we don't try. You'll never know.
I think we're making progress. I don't know. Feels like it. So now we're just pulling the harness for the turn signal switch in. It's getting pretty tight. There we go. Make sure it's clocked correctly there. There are screw holes you want to line up, but that should be fairly straightforward, considering your turn signal cam can only go in one way. Like so. We want to put our turn signal switch in, or our emergency flasher dealy bopper. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now our turn signal switch is in. We can install our screws. These are pretty special looking screws, coarse thread, shouldered, right below the head. Can't miss them. You can't mix them up with anything. All right, so the last part of this build, besides putting on the crappy steering wheel that I have, because I don't have anything better at the moment, is putting on your underdash mount. It's 2 pieces. It's real easy. There's a indention right here that goes into a slot on the steering column. So that sits in there, and then the back side, or the underside of it, bolts onto it. And then these right here will bolt onto your pedal mount assembly. And then once that's done, you can put your cover on for your wiring. It just pops right in place, and you're done. So that's the steering column. That was my first time doing it. Wasn't terrible. A lot of small parts. So, got to do something about the steering wheel. Don't know what yet, but we'll see. Hey guys, so I appreciate you watching the video. You know, my goal here is to put my hands on every single piece of the car during this restoration, doing it myself. So there's a learning curve, but you know, I'm not a professional. I haven't done this before, except on Jeeps, but that's a different story. Anyway, appreciate you watching, and please like, comment. If you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Just the other day I checked and I'm at 61 subscribers now. So thank you for that. That's great. And I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday, and you know, we'll see you back here. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I mean, I've still got that to do. I've been dragging my ass on that, but we'll get it done. Let's see, what else? If there's anything you want to see me do, I mean, there's a lot of this car left to finish. My garage is a mess right now, so excuse that. But I mean, there's a lot going on here. I've done a lot of things that I haven't recorded, really. Like the engine compartment, that's in epoxy primer. So, you know, getting it done slowly but surely. It's not a race. I'm not trying to race anybody out there. Where am I? anyway, yeah, so if there's anything you want to see me do, comment down below. And yeah, I guess we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays.